Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Red Friday. Greetings and salutations. We've made it to the end of the week. A big sports weekend, a big Chiefs game on Sunday up ahead. And we're going to talk about it all, have ourselves a good time. This is your reward for making it to the end of the week. 3 hours of sports talk on the sports voice of Kansas. 580 WIBW, FM 104.9. Online at 580WIBW.com and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. My name is Dan Lucero. Delighted to be with you on this Friday. Both Spencer Dupuis and Brendan Dworzinski are out and about on their way to cover Washburn athletics this weekend. Spencer's going to Oklahoma with Washburn women's basketball, and Brendan's on his way to Pittsburgh, Kansas tonight for Washburn hoops. He'll make the short drive then to Joplin, Missouri for Washburn football tomorrow, while I make the drive to Pittsburgh to fill in for Brendan on a Washburn basketball broadcast. So they are not here today in physical form, but not only are they here in spirit, they're here every day in spirit. You will hear from them later on in the program today as we pre-recorded our picks contest and what is wrong with you earlier on the program today. So you will hear from Spencer and Brendan. You just won't. It won't be live. Go ahead and let you know that right now. I'm not going to try and sneak anything by you. Look, I would love for it to be possible for Spencer to sit in the studio and do picks at 4:15, and then at 4:45, he's in Oklahoma City calling Washburn women's basketball. That's not how it works. I'm not going to fool you people. I got more respect for the audience than that. So just know when you hear Spencer and Brendan later on, that was previously recorded. So you'll hear from them. The gang will all be here on this Friday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Start of a big night of sports here on the Sports Voice of Kansas and the Connoisseur Media Topeka family of stations. Washburn basketball doubleheader tonight over on our home of the Ichabods, Country 106.9. As I mentioned, Spencer's in Oklahoma. He'll have the Washburn women making their season debut. Ichabod women tonight taking on St. Cloud State. Pregame at 4:45 and the tip-off at 5 o'clock. And then once that game is done, he'll send it out to Pittsburgh, where Brendan Dworzinski will be Mike's side as the Washburn men battle not Mississippi either, Minnesota State Moorhead. It'll be a rematch of last year's Central Region Championship game, which Washburn won by, looking here, a gazillion points on their way to the Final Four. But that will be the first game in the state of Kansas this year for the Ichabods, who, of course, are 2-0. So we got a Washburn basketball doubleheader on our sister station, Country 106.9. And tonight here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9, we have got our 580 Preps Game of the Week on Sectional Friday, the state quarterfinals across the Sunflower State tonight, and our game from Carbondale tonight, Santa Fe Trail versus Holton. A lot of firsts for me tonight. First time doing either of those teams' games since I arrived here in 2016. My first time out to Carbondale to call a game. My first time seeing the famed Barta Bone offense in person. Looking forward to that. Going to be a great game tonight. Santa Fe Trail is undefeated, but this time of year typically belongs to Holton. We'll see if the Chargers can hold serve at home and advance to sub-state where they haven't been since 2014. Should be a great game. We're looking forward to bringing it to you tonight. Myself and Greg Akagi on the call. Pre-game starts with the 580 Preps Coaches Club at 6:05, and we'll take it live from Carbondale, do our coaches' interviews, and then bring you the kickoff at 7 o'clock on what should be a beautiful night here in Northeast Kansas. In the meantime, here on 580 Sports Talk today, we got a jam-packed show. We got lots of great stuff. I mentioned it's a Red Friday. Chiefs Broncos on Sunday. It's a big deal. I don't know that we've emphasized just how important it is that the Chiefs not lose this football game, because a loss would put them at 500 with 7 games to play. And though I would still like the Chiefs' chances of making the playoffs, that would then be the conversation. Not, can the Chiefs win the division? How high a seed can the Chiefs get? The conversation would shift to, are the Chiefs going to make the playoffs? That's how important Sunday's game is against the Broncos. We have our keys to the game. We have our big Chief picks. We have our predictions. We'll let you know what the 580 Sports Talk crew thinks is going to happen in Denver on Sunday afternoon. We'll get Matt Derrick's perspective. Our Chiefs insider joins us at the bottom of this 3 o'clock hour. Matt from ChiefsDigest.com joins us every Friday on the show as our Chiefs insider. We'll get Matt's thoughts on what he expects to see from the Chiefs against the Broncos. We'll ask him if Bo Nix is good. We'll let him have a longer time frame for that answer. If you remember on Monday's show, I asked Matt Verderame, NFL Insider, is Bo Nix good? You have 30 seconds. And he said, no, and I don't need 30 seconds. So that's one line of thinking. But we'll get Matt Derrick's thoughts. He's coming up at the bottom of this hour. And then in the 5 o'clock hour, because in case you missed it yesterday, we were only on the air for about half an hour. So we didn't get to do our usual Thursday stuff, including our weekly visit with voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. You're going to hear from him today instead. Mitch will join us at 5:25 as per usual, and we'll get Mitch's perspective on this AFC West rivalry game. I think if I were inclined to use the term must win, which you guys know I'm not, I don't like that term. But if I were inclined to use the term, or if you are inclined to use the term and you want to apply it to this game, I would understand. Pretty important. It would behoove the Chiefs to win on Sunday. So we'll talk about it. We'll break it down. We will examine it from stem to stern, and with our two great guests today as well, Matt Derrick and Mitch Holthus. We'll also talk a little K-State football tomorrow, 11 a.m. kick in Stillwater against Oklahoma State. You can catch it right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9 starting at 9 a.m. with the pregame coverage on the K-State Sports Network from Learfield. K-State's had bad luck in recent years in Stillwater, but what do recent years have to do with how bad Oklahoma State is now? This is a game. Also, it would behoove K-State to win if they want to think about bowl eligibility. But how important is that to them, or really any team in this modern era of college football? We'll get into that a little bit. Also, we'll talk about that K-State basketball game last night. If you did not hear the doubleheader, K-State women lost basically on a buzzer beater to South Dakota. Jeff Mittie didn't start Taryn Sides for some reason, and his team got off to a slow start because their best player didn't start the game, and then they lost. And that's the kind of thing that if Jerome Tang did that, my text message window and the chat on our 580 Sports Talk YouTube page would be full of people wanting Jerome Tang's head on a pike. So I don't know what Jeff Mittie was thinking, but it was costly in a very obvious respect. So K-State women lost, but K-State men won. And maybe you didn't watch any of the game, and you look at the final score, and you see K-State 99, Cal 96, and you think, wow, what a close, nail-biting game. K-State can't guard anybody. No. That was not the game. K-State dominated. The outcome was never in doubt. But Cal signed up for 40 minutes, and there's a measure of credit that they deserve for that. They had one kid shoot like Steph Curry for the final 10 minutes. It's kind of wild as it was happening. I watched the entire game, so you didn't have to. And we'll get into that a little bit later on. Let's just say, again, I am not as alarmed about K-State's defense as the final total in the opponent's score tally would maybe make you if you did not watch the game. So we'll get into that a little bit later on. Plus, all of our typical Friday shenanigans on the show. We'll do headlines. We'll crown a What Is Wrong With You champion. We'll do our 580 Sports Talk picks contest, as I mentioned earlier. And we'll do a round of On Second Thought as well. Want to hear from you on the text line today, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the YouTube chat. Hop on the YouTube today. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not yet. We are 40 subscribers shy of our stretch goal of 900, which will get us to 580 Sports Talk Idol, which is going to be a lot of fun on this show. But we need you to subscribe. So if you haven't done so, all it costs you is a click or the tap of a screen. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. And if you're watching live, hop in the live chat. Say hello, interact with each other, and interact with me today, because it is just me behind the microphone live today. Though, again, you will hear from Brendan and Spencer later on. All right, Chiefs Broncos on Sunday. I'll elaborate on this a little bit more. I've got this saved for my final word, but these are my least favorite games of the season for the Chiefs. They're 2 games against the Broncos because this rivalry leads to a lot of back and forth trash talk on the internet and in some of the group chats that I'm in. And in those group chats, there are some, and on my social media feeds, there are some unflattering things that tend to get said about Broncos fans and Chiefs fans. And I have both in my life and love them very much. And so I don't like when people I like are mean about people I like. You know what I'm saying? So these games are always a little awkward for me, even though I didn't grow up a Bronco fan. And in fact, was kind of a hater, maybe just to stir the pot a little bit. But I was kind of a Bronco hater growing up. So, like, I have a side. I pick a side in this game. That's the other reason it's a little strange for me, because I don't typically root, but I like when the Chiefs beat the Broncos. I'll confess, I really do. But we must get through them. They do play twice a year, and the first meeting this season is in Denver, where the Broncos come in 8-2, and with a 2.5 game lead over the Chiefs, a 1 game lead over the Chargers, virtual half game lead because they've lost to the Chargers already, in that AFC West race. And I can tell you this from firsthand experience. You know who doesn't think the Broncos are particularly good, or really as good as their record would suggest? Most Broncos fans. This is not one of those where a team comes in 8-2 and full of confidence. This is one where there are a lot of folks in the Mile High City that are expecting the other shoe to drop and thinking that it might be this week. If you guys remember back to the 2013 Chiefs season, the Chiefs went to Denver in week 11 undefeated. Remember? They were 9-0 in Andy Reid's first year at the helm of the Chiefs. And they took on a Bronco team that came in with an 8-1 record. And the Broncos won that game, and it was not really particularly close. They won it by 10. There was a late touchdown pass from, this is how you know how long ago this was, Alex Smith to Anthony Fasano that made the final score what it was, 27-17. But that was the game at that stage of the season where it became pretty clear, all right, these teams might have the same record or an approximate record that's the same, or one team came in with a better record than the other, but it's pretty clear who the better team is. And it was clear in 2013 who the better team was, because the Broncos went to the Super Bowl that year. I say that to say this. I expect the reverse, or the same but in reverse, if that makes sense, this week. I expect the Chiefs to prove that they are better than the Broncos. Now, that is not to say that the Broncos do not play good defense. They have an outstanding pass rush. I can't say enough. 46 sacks in 10 games is bonkers. And they don't blitz a ton. This is not like a Steve Spagnuolo or a Brian Flores defense where they're just selling out to get to the quarterback. They don't really have to. Nick Bonito wins one-on-ones all the time. Jonathan Cooper, the other edge rusher, wins his one-on-ones. Zach Allen's one of the great interior pass rushers in the league, probably the most underrated one in the league. John Franklin Myers is really good. Don't get me wrong, they have good blitzers too. Like Talanoa Hufanga is a great blitzer from his safety spot. So they get after the quarterback. They do those things well. They are not good on offense. The 33-point fourth quarter against the Giants and a 44-point performance against a completely unserious Cowboys defense notwithstanding, this is not a good offense. And a defense of the ability that I think the Chiefs have, particularly with an extra week to prepare, I think should stifle this Broncos offense. I think this game is not going to be won or lost on the arm of Patrick Mahomes or the legs of Kareem Hunt or the hands of Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, all those guys. I think this game will be won by the Chiefs defense. As long as they keep the Broncos to a reasonable number, like 14, 13, 10. Like that feels about where the Broncos ceiling is against a good defense, provided there is not a big special teams play, provided there are not turnovers that set up Bo Nix with short field. The Chiefs take care of the ball and make the Broncos drive the ball. I don't know that they can score in the 20s. I still feel like the Chiefs can, even against an excellent pass rush. So that's sort of the baseline of where I come into this matchup. Brendan's keys to the game, I have mine, but Brendan's key to the game, number one, is protection has to be better. And I don't mean to oversimplify, but that's kind of the game. Like if Mahomes gets sacked 6 times and hit like 10 others, it's going to be hard for the Chiefs to win this game. Not impossible, but hard. Mahomes was pressured over 52% of the time he dropped back against the Bills. And his passer rating when he was pressured was worse than if he'd just thrown every pass out of bounds. So it wasn't great. That doesn't mean Patrick Mahomes is bad against the blitz, obviously. It just means that good pass rush can blow up a good passing game. I think the Chiefs' passing game is good. We've seen evidence of that against good defenses. But pressure will bust those pipes. So the Chiefs block, the Chiefs should be in good shape. I am of the firm belief, based on the evidence of the 8 games prior to week number 9 against the Bills, that the week 9 game was the outlier and not the 8 that came before it. That the Chiefs tackles, by the way, according to Andy Reid, sounds like it's going to be Josh Simmons at left tackle. He wouldn't commit to it, but there's no injury designation for Simmons. And if he's active, I have a hard time believing he's not going to play. So the tea leaves are pointing in the direction of a return for Josh Simmons at left tackle. Juwan Taylor at right tackle and Trey Smith at right guard have no injury designation for this week and should be ready to rock. I think the Chiefs should be in better shape up front and should be able to handle the front of the Broncos. And I think the Chiefs are going to be ready for the pressure anyway, get the ball out quick and be equipped to move the ball down the field with quick passes. But yeah, got to hold the line. Can't allow Mahomes to be pressured as often as he was against Buffalo. Brendan's other key to the game on the other side of the ball is defend the flats, the short passing areas, because that's where Bo Nix wants to throw the ball. This stat is interesting. Bo Nix throws on the run 25% of the time he drops back. Throws on the move. What does that tell you? That he's escaping the pocket or that it's a designed bootleg in the direction of some short passing options. That's by far the most in the NFL, by the way, if you're wondering. 25% of the time throwing on the run, that is by far the most in the NFL. Also, we have nodded to this stat earlier this week, but here is the raw number. On passes of 10 or more air yards, so thrown 10 plus yards down the field from where the quarterback is standing. Not even just like past the sticks. We're talking about 5-step drop, like a 5-yard drop back. That's a 5-yard throw. 10 or more air yard throws. Bo Nix has completed less than 39% of those throws. That is the 5th worst percentage in the NFL. It's really, really bad. So if the Chiefs can tackle well, take care of the short stuff, and not give up too many deep home run balls to Cortland Sutton, because that's the other aspect of the Broncos passing game. They try and suck the safeties in and then throw the deep ball to Sutton in a one-on-one, and Sutton's good at winning those one-on-ones. We've seen that. But as long as they're not an inordinate number of those and the Chiefs are able to tackle tight ends and running backs and small wide receivers in the flat, and the Chiefs, by the way, typically really good at that, then I think they're going to limit what Denver's passing game and by proxy their offense can do. So those were Brendan's keys. My keys to the game on Sunday. Number 1, got to win on first down on both sides of the ball. Always important, but extremely important against a good pass rush. You want to get into 3rd and medium, 3rd and short, have the whole playbook available to you, not put yourself in 3rd and long situations where Benito and Cooper and Allen can come breathing down your neck. And also, those are the situations you want to put Bo Nix and the Broncos in. You want to make it where they have to pick up 8, 9, 10, 11 yards on 3rd down. You want them off schedule. They will not have J.K. Dobbins, so their running back room takes a hit. R.J. Harvey's had his moments. I bet we see a lot of heavy personnel from the Broncos. They like to put an extra offensive lineman on the field. And a fun fact about that extra offensive lineman, by the way, in case you did not know this, because sports, like everything else, is local. The extra offensive lineman the Broncos deploy is a former University of Illinois offensive lineman named Alex Palczewski. And Alex Palczewski is engaged to be married to a former Shawnee Heights volleyball standout, Megan Cooney, who played volleyball at Illinois, and that's where they met. And they're engaged to be married. If you didn't know that, now you know that Alex Palczewski is going to marry a Topeka girl. So you can know that about him when he reports in as eligible as the 6th offensive lineman on I expect a lot of Bronco offensive plays. I think they're going to try and run and attack the Chiefs' base defense. And I think that's fine. Like, I think that's an okay matchup for the Chiefs. I think they'll be better prepared to handle that after the Bills exposed some warts 2 weeks ago. I think they'll be better prepared. So win on first down, limit those run plays out of those heavy sets, put the Broncos in second and medium, second and long, third and medium, third and long situations, and stay out of them yourself, because that's going to keep Patrick Mahomes from getting hit. My other key to the game, the Chiefs can't beat themselves. When they were really rolling before the Buffalo game, the Chiefs had managed to minimize penalties, both sides of the ball. They've done a better job, I think, largely this season avoiding penalties. One team that does not do a good job avoiding penalties is the Denver Broncos. If you count up all of the flags against the Broncos, including flags that have either offset or been declined, the Broncos have had 101 penalties called on them in their 10 games. That is second in the league. And you might be asking yourself, well, how do you overcome that? How have the Broncos been able to overcome that on their way to an 8-2 record this season? They're also second in the league in penalties called against. So, second most penalties by their opponent this year. The Chiefs can avoid that first down holding or that false start or, the defensive holding on a third and long that extends a drive, and instead the Broncos are forced to punt. I think not beating yourself is critical against a team that is more than capable of doing that. I think you give the Broncos enough rope, they'll hang themselves. We'll take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, we'll make it official. Our predictions, our big Chief picks for Sunday, the Chiefs and the Broncos. Matt Derrick coming up in about 10 minutes as well. Mitch Holthus at 525. We're just getting started on this Red Friday edition of 580 Sports Talk. 3:32 here on 580 Sports Talk. Coming up in just a moment, Matt Derrick will join us, our Chiefs insider. But first, it's time for our big Chief picks and our game predictions for Sunday as the Broncos take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Checking to see if there's been any line movement. Looks like the Chiefs are still 4-point favorites, and the total is 44.5. That's from our friends at Prairie Band Sportsbook and the Prairie Band Casino and Resort. Spencer is our leader in straight-up picks as far as who will win each game. He's tied with Brendan, 6-3 against the spread. He's tied with me, 6-3 to the total. And he's tied with me in Big Chief points with 5. His Big Chief this week is Travis Kelce. Always think it's a good bet, Kelce against Denver's linebackers, because Denver's linebackers aren't really good in general. And their best one, arguably, Alex Singleton, won't play on Sunday. He's got the Chiefs covering. He's going over 28-21 is the pick for Spencer. I personally think that's too many points, but we'll get there. Brendan going with Rashee Rice as his Big Chief. We're all going with offensive players on Big Chief. Not very bold and spicy of us this week on the Big Chief picks. Brendan also likes the Chiefs by a touchdown, 24-17, which means he is on the under. My Big Chief is Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is going to start at running back for the Chiefs. In case you missed it, earlier today, we'll get to it in headlines, Isaiah Pacheco, a DNP for the third straight day at Chiefs practice, and he has been ruled out for Sunday. He'll miss his second consecutive game with that MCL sprain. I think the Chiefs have to be willing to lean on Kareem Hunt as a run threat to make the Broncos think twice about pinning their ears back and rushing Patrick Mahomes. I think establishing a run will help the passing game, particularly the quick passing game that I expect the Chiefs to have to utilize and thrive with. And I think Kareem Hunt will have a good game. I think he'll visit the end zone at least once. I'm going with the Chiefs as well. I'm taking them to cover. I am taking the under as well. I actually have the smallest point total, 23-16. So we all think Chiefs by a touchdown. Chiefs by 7 is our thought process. I'm going 23-16. I think the Broncos will force some field goal attempts from Harrison Butker, which at altitude is fine. I also think the Broncos will have to settle for some field goals if they are to move the ball down the field, because I just don't think they can drive it 70, 80-plus yards a bunch on a Chiefs defense that I expect to be very prepared, very motivated, and a Chiefs defense that we've seen play really well out of the bye with Steve Spagnuolo as their defensive coordinator. So there you have it. That's what the crew thinks. Chiefs by a score. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, it's Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider, joining us next on 580 Sports Talk. We go to Kansas City on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline to chat with Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt covers the Chiefs at ChiefsDigest.com. You can catch him every Friday at this time here on the program. Matt, how did you spend your Chiefs bye week Sunday?
Boy, I'm trying to remember what I did Sunday.
It's a long time ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, and not to mention the fact that I'm getting old, so I barely remember what I did yesterday, much less Sunday. I mean, I think, oh gosh, it was cold too. Man, you stumped the band on this one. I wish I could remember.
It must have been pretty unmemorable at the end of the day, and that's fine. Sometimes it's nice to do something you don't have to remember doing.
I think there was a pizza involved, but that's about the best I can remember.
Listen, I never forget a pizza, so I'm right up there with you. Matt, the Chiefs coming off of a bye week. We know that the record for Andy Reid is pretty impeccable coming off of bye weeks in his career. 22-4 is the record. But in recent years, it's been the Chiefs defense that has really excelled coming out of the bye week. What's the read you get on this Chiefs defense coming off of a loss, coming out of a bye? They always seem to get better in the second half of seasons. There's certainly room for them to improve following the first half. What do you see as that biggest reason for optimism that they're going to hit the ground running in the second half of their season in Denver on Sunday?
Yeah, you talk about what they do defensively and what they're able to do coming off of a bye week. I come back to the same thing that it is with Andy Reid. If you give a really good, great coach 2 weeks to prepare for any team, that's all they need. And the Broncos aren't coming off a bye, right? So they don't have that advantage. So I think that definitely tilts towards the Chiefs' favor, because Steve Spagnuolo is the same way. You give him time to look at a team longer than the other team has, that's going to be an advantage in his side every single time, even if he's going up against somebody good on the other side. And let's face it, the Broncos and their offense under Sean Payton's a great coach. He's going to have that team ready to play. But Spags, you give him time, he's going to do two things. One, he's going to be able to pick apart what you do well and dissect it. And the other thing is that he's coming off a game where, honestly, the Bills exposed everything that the Chiefs do wrong. And he's got a game plan for the second half of the season about what he's got to fix now. So I think that's a lot of things in the favor of the Chiefs, both sides. But when you talk about what they do defensively, nobody makes adjustments, I think, better in game or in season than Steve Spagnuolo, and that's what he's got a chance to do this week.
What's the most important adjustment or point of improvement for the Chiefs defense from that performance against the Bills to this game against the Broncos, given what the Broncos like to do well, which is not too dissimilar from what the Bills tried to do 2 Sundays ago, which is run a lot of heavy packages, force the base defense on the field, throw to the tight ends, and run the football?
Yeah, and I don't even know if it's really as much about the packages and that kind of thing. I think it's that's kind of just part and parcel with what every team's going to do against a team like this. But I thought that especially what Spagnuolo kind of talked about Thursday about what just kind of got exposed in that game. It's a couple of things that they've been dealing with the last few weeks, just little wrinkles. I mean, obviously they had the shutout against the Raiders, but there's just been some little miscommunications here. Kind of coordinating with the young secondary and making sure everybody's on the same page. There's a little bit of those things, and just little small things I think are easy to clean up, but you just kind of need to see them. And that's what, I mean, especially the Bills game kind of exposed for them. I think, definitely. And the thing about the Bills game, I thought that in particular, kind of obviously the Chiefs had not been beaten up by tight ends pretty much all season. So that was a new thing that kind of developed, but it's going to be something that every team is going to try to attack now. And we're going to find out with the Broncos, if the Chiefs have fixed that or not.
Matt Derrick is our guest on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. He is our Chiefs insider here on the program, covers the Chiefs at ChiefsDigest.com. Bo Nix has not played spectacularly well for the better part of this 2025 season. There's not been that leap forward that I think the Broncos were maybe hoping that they would see in year 2 from their first-round draft pick at quarterback. What things in particular do the Chiefs need to force him into, and what advantage do the Chiefs have that they can really press in this matchup to try and keep the Broncos in that 3-and-out rhythm that their offense has found themselves in its worst?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Dan. I felt really smart yesterday because Steve Spagnuolo was saying the same things I've said this week. Is that that Broncos offense? It's a rhythm offense. They want to try and get Bo Nix into a rhythm. They want him to get comfortable and just have him getting the ball out on schedule and rolling down the field. That's the key. So you got to disrupt it. You can't let him get comfortable. You can't let him get into a rhythm. You've got to get in his face, off balance, off schedule, all those things. And if you can do that, then you're going to force the Broncos and you're going to force Bo Nix to make mistakes. And that's when they generally have their biggest problems. They can turn over the football. When they don't, they're a really, really good team. But when they make mistakes, they can pile up. And we've seen that before. So that's the key. I mean, you've really got to force Bo Nix to have a rough afternoon. If you let him get into a rhythm and he gets rolling early, he can put up 300 yards and 3 touchdowns on you. But if you're able to attack the middle of that offensive line, you get some pressure on him, force him out of the pocket, make him uncomfortable, he will make mistakes. And that's about the only way that you can, I think, really go after this Broncos team. You can't depend on trying to bend but don't break. I think this is a game where the Chiefs absolutely have to kind of go and do one of the things they have not been good at, which is creating turnovers and creating mistakes.
Let's shift gears to the Chiefs offense. They face a Denver defense that leads the NFL with 46 sacks in their first 10 games this season. How do you believe the Chiefs are best equipped to attack a defense that is such an attacking defense as Denver's?
Yeah, and one way I'll be really interested, because we've been talking about this all season, Dan. It's just when do you finally get to see Brashard Smith unleashed? And Isaiah Pacheco is going to be out again, but man, you just talk about a defense that's built for attacking them with the screen game and throwing the ball in the flat, running the football, all of these things. This is the team, and also the Broncos. They play a lot of man defense, which gets you in the possibility of trying to take Brashard Smith and match him up and try and see if you can't isolate him on a linebacker, isolate him on a safety where maybe you think you got an advantage, but try and create some favorable matchups to get him the football in space, because, we saw that back in training camp. Him being covered by a linebacker is pretty much unstoppable. So if you're the Chiefs, if you can find a way to get the ball to him, even a half dozen touches, I think would be enough to make the Broncos just think twice about how much they pursue downhill, because if you're able to just dump the ball off to him behind a bunch of guys coming after you, if you're Patrick Mahomes, that could be a play that goes a while. And, and you have to be able to get rid of the ball quickly. That this is not going to be a game where Mahomes is probably going to have a lot of time to dance around, and he's certainly probably not going to have a solid pocket. So are they still going to be able to take some shots downfield? Maybe. But they're going to have to create those opportunities by slowing down the pass rush.
Andy Reid wouldn't commit to it today in his Friday press conference, so we're all reading the same tea leaves, but you've covered the Chiefs longer. You've got more experience reading Andy Reid's tea leaves than I. Do you think Josh Simmons is going to play left tackle on Sunday?
I'd be surprised if he doesn't at this point. It's certainly, even like you said, even though Andy Reid really didn't say anything, he did say that, secrets, don't really get kept in the NFL these days. That seems like, to me, that's the things that he has been saying and what the Chiefs have indicated. Josh Simmons has been a full participant all week in practice. He has no game day designation. It would appear that by all accounts that he is ready and available and will play on Sunday. So is he just going to be a backup? I can't imagine that. He's been back in the building now for 10, 11 days. That's more than enough time that even if he was a little out of shape during his stay away from the team, he's got plenty of time to get back into football shape. And if he's a full participant, that should mean that he's been taking first team reps this week in practice. And if that's the case, barring another change in his status, I would have to think that he's going to be the guy on Sunday.
Any concern about the nagging injuries for Jawan Taylor and Trey Smith, because I don't think either were close to 100% against Buffalo. Certainly neither played like it, and Taylor would eventually leave the game in the fourth quarter. Any concern about those, or do they feel like, given the bye and some rest and relaxation, that those two, the right side of that Chiefs offensive line, is going to be more equipped to play well in this matchup?
Yeah, it certainly seems like the rest did both of those guys well. I know, Andy Reid said that even like Jawan, his ankle was feeling better when he got back from Buffalo, but still that ankle has been bothering him for a little bit. It's not just the knee, but he's had the ankle issue as well. The week off seems to have helped. They did not have to back off of Trey Smith this week either. He seems good to go and ready to play. So, yeah, it does seem like if those guys aren't back to us as 100%, it's probably as close as they're going to get during the season. And yeah, here's the Chiefs, Dan. Like you said, those are two guys that they have to have. If you can get those two guys healthy again and back to the closer to themselves, it makes life easier for everybody else, especially over on the left side.
Couple more questions for our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick, joining us here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt Derrick writes for ChiefsDigest.com. Didn't feel like the Chiefs really helped Patrick Mahomes or helped their offensive line against the Buffalo pass rush last week, in the sense that they didn't really commit to the run. There wasn't a lot of play action. There wasn't a lot of under center stuff. Do you think some of that makes a comeback in this game, that they come out with a scheme that is more designed with keeping the Denver pass rush out of the Kansas City backfield?
I gotta think so, Dan. I mean, this seems like just a game that's built for the Andy Reid screen game. And, and that's something that I feel like they've gotten away from a lot the last couple of years, which has surprised me, because I felt like that they have an offensive line that could do it. Maybe they just haven't felt like they've had the running back to do it. And, I don't know if it's a huge importance about who the third running back is. I still want to see Elijah Mitchell. I don't know, from a competitive balance standpoint, that I don't know if Clyde Edwards-Helaire gives you anything that you don't already have. But between Brashard Smith and potentially a guy like Elijah Mitchell, I mean, it seems like there's some things that those guys can do that, Kareem and Pacheco just can't. And that still seems like the opportunity in the second half of the season. And we know Andy Reid, after the bye week in the second half of the year, is usually when he starts to take the reps a little bit more off of the rookies. So maybe this is the week. I still feel like Lucy and Charlie Brown with the football. Every week I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a week for Brashard Smith, and it never is, Dan.
No, I'm with you. I think we've kind of been waiting for that breakout too. But yeah, this feels like a game. Get him going horizontally. This feels like it's that kind of game. The game that would benefit from a little bit of Brashard Smith, a little more Xavier Worthy, get some of that speed out to the perimeter and do some damage out that way. Bring the linebackers into play and take the defensive line out of play for the Broncos.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, I think there's a psychological element to this game too. That it's not just that the Chiefs want to win and need to win to get where they want to go, but I think they need to send a message. I mean, they need I think there's at least that undercurrent out there that obviously a lot of people are just wondering, hey, is the Chiefs back? Is this the Chiefs of old, or is this the team that you can beat? And I think they need to make sure that they're sending a message to the rest of the league that, hey, they're the Chiefs. If you want to be the king, you gotta beat the king. And I think they need teams to be afraid of them. They need teams to be worried about them, because if they're going to go into this second half of the schedule and teams are thinking, hey, wait a minute, this is the year that you can get the Chiefs, and they believe in themselves, then you can manifest that. I truly believe that. So that's why I think that you need to snuff that out. You need to get some of these teams in the second half of the season thinking, wait a minute, we can't beat these guys. They're too good.
Real quick, Matt, final score prediction for this one?
Yeah, after saying that one, I should probably say, Chiefs by 30, but I still think it's going to be a close game. But I think Kansas City pulls this one out. I think they're the better team, and coming off the bye week, you never bet against Andy Reid. So 27-24 Chiefs.
All right. Yeah, I've seen too many mile-high shenanigans in my life to feel super comfortable about predicting a one-sided Chiefs win at the end of the day, but I'm pretty confident they're the better team and they'll find a way to win on Sunday. Matt Derrick will have it covered at ChiefsDigest.com. He is our Chiefs insider, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline every Friday here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, enjoy the ball game. We'll talk next week.
Sounds great, Dan. Take care, my friend.
That is Matt Derrick. We will take one more time out this hour, come back with On second thought, to wrap up the 3 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. On second thought, there are a lot of important football games this weekend. Obviously, Kansas City Chiefs trying to get back in the AFC West race in Denver against the upstart Broncos. Some big NFL games. Seahawks Rams is huge. Lions Eagles is a big one in the NFC. Bills Bucks is a big game. Lots of big college football games. A couple of top 25 matchups in the SEC. K-State trying to claw their way back to bowl eligibility against Oklahoma State. Yeah. Those are all big games. That's all nice. On second thought, I don't need the second thought. The biggest game on the gridiron this weekend, Saturday, the Monon Bell Classic. That's right. The Monon Bell game is this week in Crawfordsville. It is, I'm trying to find the number of times they've played. It's a lot. The 131st playing of the football rivalry between the good and virtuous Fighting Tigers of DePauw University and the wretched hive of scum and villainy that is that all-boys school 30 miles to the north, Wabash College. DePauw has dominated the Bell Series in recent years, won it 42-21 last year. They come in ranked number 11 in the country. Wabash is ranked 23rd. They've had a nice little year, cute little year, nice little job, little Giants. You and your little Giants and your little the overalls, the red candy stripe overalls, your little loser students wear to the game. I want to make it very clear. DePauw is going to retain the Monon Bell. They're going to do it with authority. They're going to do it with some vengeance. Brett Dietz going to run a train on the Little Giants. Going to be Scotty Ballantyne making it rain to his older brother, Robbie Ballantyne. It's going to be Caden Whitehead carving a swath through that Wabash run defense. It's going to be my guys, Joey Rowland and Luke Nolan, living in the backfield on defense. Yeah, it's the only game that matters. The Monon Bell game this Saturday. Thank you for indulging me. Coming up, we got 580 Sports Talk picks. We got What Is Wrong With You. We'll talk about K-State basketball and football next hour as well on 580 Sports Talk. Hey guys, It's me. You're the only ones hearing this right now. You on the stream. Yeah, you right now on our video stream. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube and WIBW News on Facebook. Yeah. Hi, guys. Real quick programming note. We're going to shut the stream down after headlines today. We won't run the stream for the duration of the show because, full disclosure, I got to get to Carbondale for high school football, right? So I gotta make that drive. So we got a lot of stuff in the can for that third hour, and you can still hear it online. You're just going to have to go to our website, 580wibw.com, or listen on your streaming radio app of choice. But after headlines, we're shutting down the studio. We're going to keep it on until then, though, so keep hanging out with us. But I just wanted to let you know personally because I care about you very much. So be aware. I'm going to put the graphic up now. I'll talk to you guys later. Hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. I did that in reverse of how I usually do it. You guys catch that? Anyway, my name's Dan Lucero. We got 2 more hours together here on the Sports Voice of Kansas on this Red Friday edition of 580 Sports Talk. 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. I didn't like how that went, reversing it like that. Wasn't a fan. I probably won't do that again. I thought, try and mix it up. There was one time Brendan tried to introduce the show in a different way than he ever had before, and it came out really bad. I still crack up thinking about it. But anyway, this is hour number 2 here on 580 Sports Talk on this Friday, and I'm sure glad that you are hanging out with us, however, whenever, wherever you're tuning into the program today. With you until 6 o'clock, then at 6:05, pregame coverage of high school football gets underway with the 580 Preps Coaches Club, followed by tonight's 580 Preps Game of the Week. It is the Santa Fe Trail Chargers hosting the Holton Wildcats. From Carbondale tonight, myself and Greg Akagi will be on the call. Very much looking forward to bringing you that game tonight. Should be a really good one. 2 excellent teams. Holton, as per usual, catching fire in November. Santa Fe Trail, 10-0. A lot of first sense milestones for that Santa Fe Trail program this season. Been a long time since they have had a season with 10 wins, as they are currently 10-0. And they've got a chance to do what only 2 other teams before them have ever done, and that is win 11 games in a season at Santa Fe Trail. So lots on the line for the Chargers. Obviously, the Wildcats, been there, done that, looking for their 16th trip to Sub-State in 30 years under Brooks Sparta. So we'll have pregame coverage starting with the Coaches Club at 6:05. Then we'll be live from Carbondale. We'll bring you our pregame conversations with the head coaches tonight. Brooks Sparta of Holton, Greg Slade of Santa Fe Trail. Those 2 are no strangers, as back when Greg Slade was the head coach at Rose Hill in the 2000s, they met Holton 3 times in the playoffs and beat them once en route to a state championship, Rose Hill's 4A state title in 2011. So there's a history, even though you got to go way back for it. A couple of veteran coaches with state titles to their names. It'll be a fun one tonight, and I hope you'll join us here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. Washburn basketball gets underway over in our sister station, Country 106.9, in about 35 minutes. Spencer Dupuis is in Oklahoma, Edmond to be precise, for the Central Region Challenge as the Washburn women open their 2025-26 season against St. Cloud State. Following that game, it'll be the Washburn men from Pittsburgh, Kansas, that is. They play Minnesota State Moorhead tonight. And Brendan Dworzinski will have the action as the Ichabods try to improve on their 2-0 start. So, busy night tonight on the family of stations. Obviously, tonight at 10 o'clock here on 580 WIBW, the flagship station of the Kansas Information Network. Eric Peterson will have scores and recaps from around the state on this sectional Friday night. The state quarterfinals in all classes. All, doing the math, 9 classes. That's right. 6A through 1A, 2 8-man classes, and 6-man as well. I want to do a 6-man game before I'm done. That's one thing I haven't done. There's a lot of boxes I've checked in my broadcasting career. That makes me sound older than I am, although I guess 39 didn't exactly make me a spring chicken. But there's a lot of boxes I've checked, a lot of places I've broadcast from, a lot of events, a lot of milestones. I broadcast teams winning state championships. That's really cool stuff. But I've done 11-man football, obviously, and I've done some 8-man. I've done 8-man in 3 different states, actually. I've done an 8-man game in Western Kansas. I've done an 8-man game in Nebraska, a couple of them. And I did an 8-man game in Colorado once, too. But I've never done 6-man. And really, I don't know how feasible that's going to be, because there aren't a lot of schools in central and eastern Kansas to play 6-man football. Most of the smaller Western Kansas schools almost predominantly playing 6-man. But that's a box I'd like to check before I hang up the headset for good. I'd like to broadcast a 6-man game. Anyhow, We got a lot to get to the rest of the way. Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs, going to join us at 5:25. We'll talk some more Chiefs then. Going to get into that K-State basketball game last night. The most lopsided 3-point win you're ever going to see. If you want to know what 15 minutes of garbage time looks like, that's what it looked like last night. And even though it looks on paper like that game almost got away from K-State, it did not almost get away from K-State. And I'm a lot more enthused by the offense and worried about the defense. Though I'm not worried about the defense. Like, you don't want to give up 96. Like, you'd like to keep that at a bit more of a reasonable number. Like, they held Cal to 34 in the first half. You double that, that's fine. You can win games allowing in the high 60s, especially as good offensively as I think K-State is going to be. But you don't want to allow 96. Even if it was extended garbage time, even if Cal was still trying to win the game, even though the math said it was a lost cause in the final minute, you still don't want to give up 96. But like I said, I'm less worried about the defense than I am excited about the offense. Now I'm really excited about watching Kansas State play offensive basketball, which is not a thing I have said since Jerome Tang's first season on the bench. And we'll talk a little K-State football too. KU off, obviously, on Saturday, but K-State is not. They play Oklahoma State. You can hear that game right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. Pregame coverage at 9 a.m. and the tip at 11 on the K-State Sports Network from Learfield. We'll talk about that game a little bit and what it will reveal one way or another about Oklahoma State. Texter from the 785 says, 2011's the year I graduated. That's not way back, right? I guess not. 2011, not way back. Some days it feels like it. Some days, the early 2010s. That's a handful of jobs ago for me. I was still in North Platte, Nebraska at the time. I was covering Husker games, crisscrossing the state in the station's Dodge Caravan, doing high school and JUCO athletics. So I had games 5 nights a week, and most of them were not close. I don't know what you know about the geography of Nebraska. North Platte ain't really close to anything. And the high school and the junior college weren't exactly close to any of their opponents. So a lot of windshield time back in those days. There's no way in hell I could do that now. Let me think. I was, what do I do? 24, 25 in 2011. Yeah, a little more energy, a little more vim and vigor back in the day to put in all that windshield time. I couldn't do it now. No chance. Anyhow, enough about me. Let's get into the 580 Sports Talk Picks Contest. Yes, it is week number 12 of the Picks Contest. You may note that Brendan Wierzinski and Spencer Dupuis are not in studio today. Spencer's in Edmond, Oklahoma. Brendan's heading to Pittsburgh, Kansas. But by the magic of radio, we have conjured the two of them, by which I mean we tape recorded the Picks Contest earlier today. So please enjoy the Picks Contest here on 580 Sports Talk. It's me, it's Brendan and Spencer chopping it up. This was earlier today, so if there's been any line movement since this morning, our apologies. It is not reflected in this conversation. It's the 580 Sports Talk Picks Contest, week number 12. All right, Picks Contest time. Once again, all of our lines are from the Prairie Band Sportsbook up at the Prairie Band Casino and Resort in Mayetta. And you know how we do it by now. We pick 2 college football games against the spread, 2 NFL games against the spread, then have a wild card pick that can be another spread, an over-under, a team or a player prop, whatever we like in the wild card slot. Last week, Spencer back to 500, going the wrong direction after a 1-4 performance. Brendan 3-1-1 last week, had the best week of any of us. I went 2-3. So the overall standings, Spencer still ahead. I was not able to close as much of the gap as I would have liked, but Spencer right at 500, 26-1. I believe we call that, Spencer, the epitome of mediocrity.
Yes.
I am 22-27-3. I'm still salty about those pushes. Brendan on the board with a push. He was the last one of us to get one of those.
Look, I'd rather be mediocre and down the juice than out 100 for the year.
No, that's a fact. 21-31-1 is Brendan's overall record.
At this point, I'm just trying to catch Dan.
I understand.
It's going to take a real Spencer meltdown at this point. So I'm trying to catch up to Dan here.
Hey, look, he went 1-4 last week. Who knows? At some point, Marshall has to stop covering every game, right?
You'd think.
You would think they would stop being America's best team against the spread at some point. but they have been, I think, over the last season and a half, by some distance, America's best team against the spread.
I don't know how. I don't understand how.
We may as well start there. Spencer, you're in the lead. We'll let you go first this week, and you've got a Marshall pick as one of your college football picks because, of course.
Yes. I believe now Marshall favored by 8 on the road at Georgia State. They are wearing their 75 helmets because, as I mentioned last week, little PO'd at the Sun Belt Conference for not giving Marshall the closest game to November 14th, a home game. For that, we are Marshall. Never forget the 75. Marshall going to cover by 8 tomorrow at Georgia State.
Georgia State is horrendous.
Yes.
They are. I can't believe this
jumped.
is only 8.
The lines jumped. It was actually 6, I think, at the beginning of the week.
I'm shocked it's not more. They are bad.
And then my other one, I'm going back to the well. It didn't work last week, but UCLA is just bad. And I think Ohio State's going to cover the 32. They're just going to be able to score whatever they want. And I think this is going to be like the one a few weeks ago where they just cover.
Did you notice how when they won those 2 games back-to-back after what's-his-face got fired, oh my God, what was that idiot's name? Their terrible head coach, Deshaun Foster.
Yeah.
Did you notice the first 2 games they won, all the talk was about Jerry Neuheisel, and then they started losing, and it was back to talking about Tim Skipper, the head coach.
Huh, weird how that works. Also, very funny on College Football 26, the video game, Deshaun Foster turns into like Nick Saban. He had UCLA in a national championship game in year 3.
Jeez.
Very funny. Anyhow, I am in second place, so I will go second with my college football picks this week. I've got Arizona covering on the road at Cincinnati. That spread is 6.5. Cincinnati favored by 6.5 at home. The reason I like Arizona here, number one, coming off the emotional win at home over Kansas. Number two, Arizona's defensive strength is in the secondary, and Cincinnati wants to throw the football. So I think this is a matchup that kind of augurs well for Arizona to, at the very least, keep it closer than a touchdown. So I like the hook here, 6.5, Arizona covering on the road at Cincinnati. My other college football pick this week, got Alabama laying 5.5 at home against Oklahoma. I don't love the number, but I am dead convinced Alabama's going to win. So I'm comfortable with the pick here. I just don't think Oklahoma and John Mateer have been the same since Mateer's hand injury. I know they've picked up a couple of wins in that stretch, but they're not the team that looked like they had some real juice earlier in the season. Alabama, I think, is getting better and better as the year rolls on. I think the Crimson Tide cover 5.5 and win that game, no pun intended, John Mateer, pretty handily.
Ha ha ha. So your picks are the complete opposite of mine. I've decided I'm only doing G5 games at this point.
Good
because
for you.
Anything in the Power 4 has just been a disaster this year.
Your belt respecting has taken you a long way.
Speaking of Saturday afternoon, you boys know what we do on Saturday afternoons? We respect the belt. Sun Belt action. Specifically, we disrespect UL Monroe. They're back in action this week. They were off a week ago. They are 2-7 against the spread this year. South Alabama is not good. No getting around that. They stink, and they're going to Monroe. There might be 100 people at this game, and they're going to see South Alabama cover 4.5 on the road.
Spencer, how do you feel about Brendan taking your corner as our Sun Belt insider?
I love it. You know what? I think things have flipped for him when he decided he really wanted to respect the belt.
Respect the belt. Seriously, it's the only thing that's working. Everything else has been a disaster. Only thing that has worked. Other one from the American. Were you aware East Carolina is right in the thick of the hunt to win the American?
Sure wasn't.
And with how good that conference is this year, it's like not impossible that they're out of it for the college football playoff seed. Not likely, but it's possible. They are favored at home against Memphis. You want to talk about a team that has gotten a lot of attention? Many people who have talked about that G5 playoff spot, oh yeah, Memphis. They're dogs on the road at ECU. To the common man, that might sound like, what? Bizarre, strange. Not to me. We're respecting the American people today. No quarter, ECU laying 2.5.
I might go the other way on that. I think Memphis is really good.
Now, I heard a rumor, and I don't have a source. Obviously, I just heard this online. I heard a rumor there could be some injury worries for Memphis this week.
Quarterback's been in and out of the lineup a little bit. No, I understand
and that would be significant. Look, you don't just walk into Greenville, North Carolina and think you're going to walk out with an easy win, all right?
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Hashtag no quarter.
You don't walk into the other triangle, North Carolina's other triangle.
You know what? I am with you on this pick because East Carolina, they're there for Marshall.
There you go.
All right, let's go to the National Football League, and Brendan will let you start with your NFL picks this week.
Okay, I hate this entire week of spreads. Every single one of them. Nothing, even if I'm wrong, at least usually one like, oh yeah, like that one speaks to me. Let's at least start there. None this week. I hate this board. A lot of overs I like though. So I'm going to start with a road dog in a divisional game. Carolina at Atlanta. The Panthers are getting 3.5. I'm going to take that. I don't think they're 3.5 points worse than Atlanta. And over the course of the season, and I was looking this up from NFL ELO ratings as well as Jeff Sagarin, the value of home field advantage for the NFL has dropped by almost a full point over the last 3 weeks.
Wow.
It was upwards of 3.6 points. It's now down to 2.57, according to the Sagarin ratings. I'm going to take Carolina. I think, one, Atlanta's run defense is horrendously bad. Carolina does one thing really, really, really well. Run the ball. Oh, my God, they run the ball well. I like Carolina. Low-scoring game. I'll take the Panthers getting 3.5. Dallas is laying 3.5 Monday night at Las Vegas. Why? Vegas should not be within a touchdown of anyone. Like that's essentially the rationale here. Also, there's no home field advantage at Allegiant Stadium. Cowboys fans on a Monday night.
There will be a home field advantage. It'll just be for the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh my God, there's going to be a bigger home field advantage than Jerry World.
Yes, it's going to sound like Jerry World.
Yeah, no, give me Dallas. That one, the travel's not bad. They already have a bunch of transplant fans anyway from all the years they did training camp out in California.
They still do that.
Do they still go to Oxnard? Yeah, I think Dallas is going to take care of that one. This is mostly Vegas disrespect, though.
All right, my NFL picks this week. Since 2020, teams that fire their coach in season are 10-5 against the spread in their first game under an interim coach.
I know.
The Giants are catching 7 at Green Bay. Jameis Winston is the quarterback. They are either going to win this game or they're going to lose by 38 points. Like, I don't think there's a lot of in between here. I'll go with the trend. I'll go with the vibes, the Jameis vibes. It's weird that he has such good vibes. He's the best vibes backup quarterback maybe in the entire league.
If Jackson Dart was starting, I think you'd almost have to do money line sprinkle on this game. Like, quirked up quarterback, new head coach who the scuttlebutt I've listened to on my 400 NFL podcasts I listen to all week is like, Mike Kafka, this is legitimately his job interview. Like, they would love to just hire Mike Kafka full time. A guy who knows how to coach quarterbacks without like making them run as a battering ram into the defense on every play. I think this game is going to be very, very close. I hate playing in New York. I hate when the Packers go to the Meadowlands.
Oh, I thought this was in the frozen tundra. It is not?
No, this is at the Meadowlands.
Oh, well, I had that backwards. So, yeah, I feel even better about it. 7-point home dog.
Yeah.
With Jameis? Jameis going to throw 4 touchdowns or 4 picks. Maybe
maybe
4
both.
picks.
Maybe
yeah,
both.
Maybe both.
Somehow they're going to win the game, and he's going to say something wild on his post-game interview.
He's going to quote from a book of the Bible that does not exist.
I'm going to skip work Monday if that happens. I'll tell you what.
You know what Jessica 27 says? He who believes eats W's, or some nonsense like that. Anyway, my other NFL pick this week.
The book of Jimbo.
I feel really good about the Chiefs winning in Denver, so I'm going to lay the 4 as one of my picks this week. Kansas City -4 at Denver. I just think they're better.
I agree.
And if you're only giving me 4 points of separation between Patrick Mahomes and Bo Nix, I'll gleefully take it. Spencer, what do you got for your NFL picks?
Yes, I don't know why I'm going back to this well, but I have trust.
The bit is the bit. I respect your commitment.
I have trust in Dan Quinn. Commanders are 2.5-point dogs in Madrid. It's technically, I believe, a Dolphins home game. This is a pure Dan Quinn has demoted Joe Witt Jr. to defensive staffer, and Dan Quinn will now call the plays. I want to see what happens here. I want to see how that helps defensively, if it helps. So I've got the Commanders 2.5-point road neutral dogs in against Miami in Madrid, because I believe the Commanders will be on one end zone if that's the international series. So I've got that, and I've got the 49ers on the road at Arizona. They're favored by 3. I think they win. I think they bounce back. They've got Brock Purdy. I think Purdy, it's going to be a pretty easy win, I think, over Arizona.
Really cool story over at ESPN.com this week about Mike McDaniel, Dolphins head coach. He's been pretty open about his challenges with sobriety. He's been sober for several years now, but earlier in his career, really was derailing him. And talking about Dan Quinn and how Quinn, Kyle Shanahan, and Raheem Morris, all assistants and head coach with the Falcons at the time in 2016, took Mike McDaniel aside and like, hey, you need help. Like, you need to get your life on track. And he did. And really cool, hearing the respect he said, talking about Dan Quinn. It's over at ESPN.com. Pretty cool story.
Back to Spencer for our wild card picks.
Yes, we've got the Military Academy under this week, as Air Force Academy is at Connecticut, under 63.5 points. I just don't think crunching some numbers. I don't think that
you don't just walk into the rent and put up 64 or more. Actually, some teams have this year.
Yeah, UConn's going to a bowl, man.
UConn's good.
Yeah,
like legitimately good.
Air Force can score it. It's so weird checking the Air Force scores and they're like losing 45-28. Like, that's so foreign.
As it turns out, Jim Mora Jr., good college football coach.
He found his level.
How's UCLA doing? Oh,
good for him. For my wild card pick, I didn't feel comfortable playing the Seahawks-Rams game this week. Rams are 3-point favorites. I kind of think they're going to win. I just think they are the team. Like, they've got that identity in those close games that the Seahawks are still kind of striving for. And I think McVay over McDonald is a bit of a coaching edge for the Rams. So I think the Rams probably win at home. But I do think Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to have a monster game. His total receiving yards is 100.5. I will take the over because I think Seattle's going to have to throw because nobody runs on the Rams, and the only guy they throw to is JSN.
And look, if you're playing from behind, or wow, we're going up against a tough defense, let's just do what works over and over. Yeah, give it to JSN
over and over and over.
Should be a first-team All-Pro this year. I told you I liked a bunch of overs in the NFL this week. I'll take Tampa Bay at Buffalo over 47.5. Tampa likes to blitz a lot. Josh Allen against the blitz. I like Josh Allen there. Buffalo cannot stop anybody. And even though Tampa's been banged up, Buffalo can't stop anybody. So I'll take over. In fact, that line has moved. It's now just 47. I will take that over 47. Maybe someone's hurt and I don't know about it, but I will take over 47 there.
Yeah, that does seem low.
For what it's worth, I like Bears Vikings over 48 as well. There was one other, and Bengals Steelers over 49. There might not be 40 total tackles in that game. But yeah, Bills Bucks over 47. That is my official pick.
All right, gentlemen, need a lock of the week.
Let's go back to the well. Let's respect the belt. Monroe sucks. Give me the USA laying 4.5.
Spencer, lock of the week.
We are Marshall. Marshall favored by 8 on the road to Georgia State for the 75 once again.
Now I'll go with Bama over Oklahoma. I just don't think Oklahoma can hang.
I'm glad to know we all hate the NFL spreads this week.
Those are the 580 Sports Talk picks. We taped those earlier today. Brendan and Spencer are not magically teleporting to Pittsburgh and Edmond, Oklahoma, respectively. That would be impossible. That technology does not exist. But the technology to bring you the picks contest, that does exist. And we are more than happy to use it. We also did What Is Wrong With You together. That's coming up next on the other side of this break. We got to crown a weekly champion on What Is Wrong With You here on 580 Sports Talk.
He was only wearing sweatpants. He is now nude. When deputies arrived, Molnix burst out of the toilet wielding 2 wooden stakes and attempting to flee on foot.
Where did those come from?
A deputy used a taser to subdue him before taking him into custody. They found his gray sweatpants inside the portable toilet. No word if they were now brown sweatpants.
Not the gray sweatpants.
Yeah, you know what he was. You know what he was doing. You know the goal with those. He was taken to a hospital for evaluation and was later booked into Lee County Jail. He is facing charges including grand theft of a motor vehicle, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and my favorite, criminal mischief. He will be arraigned in December.
Can we talk about my guy's forehead for a second? You see, mugshot. I can't get past it.
Hey, look, man. Peyton Manning went to the Hall of Fame, all right?
You could project an IMAX movie onto this dude's forehead. He looked like the Great Gazoo.
One of my favorite things that I've noticed with all, the hundreds and hundreds of stories we've done on What Is Wrong With You is when they have enough of the body in a mugshot, you can tell what the person's wearing.
Uh-huh.
This guy is just wearing the orange police jumpsuit.
Right.
Sometimes they have the regular clothes. My favorite is just like a black garbage bag when you can tell someone's been naked or has something inappropriate on their clothes. We already knew this guy was naked, but I think that's a fun little Easter egg.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there.
He's got as much forehead as rest of head.
My story today, we're going to Romeo, Michigan. This is a spiritual successor to the story we had that won a week in October, where there was the sign outside that said absolutely no drugs allowed, and the person inside it had hella drugs.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to a massage parlor in Romeo, and it was raided, and one person was arrested in an alleged prostitution sting. Police say they carried out the raid at Umi Spa along Van Dyke, south of 32 Mile, after learning about alleged sex acts going on inside. Police showed us a photo inside a business that read, quote, "Warning, no sexual."
Oh, shoot, that says it all.
Yeah, my work here is done. The business is represented as a foot massage spa, and they're going in and being propositioned. To any clients that participated, know that this is an active investigation and not over with, said Police Chief Kevin Roy.
Don't show back up.
Roy said tips led to a case being opened in partnership with Michigan State Police and Macomb County Sheriff's deputies. The prosecutor's office said an arraignment is set for Friday morning. But on the other hand, the sign says, "Warning, no sexual."
Why is it a warning? That's the red flag to me. Why is that a warning?
Yeah,
and not just like
you thought
rules.
You thought you knew what you were walking into. Sorry. Happy ending? Not here. Be very careful if that's what you ask for.
Excuse me, are you conducting illicit business here? Excuse me, read the sign.
I made the same joke when we had the absolutely no drug story, but it's like when you went to a frat party in freshman year of college, you'd see the signs. Nobody under 21 drinks at ATO, or absolutely no underage drinking at Delta Tau Delta, or I haven't landed on you were a fraternity brother, were you not?
Yes.
Okay.
Sigma Tau Gamma.
Okay, so I haven't made fun of or landed on the fraternity. That was actually one of the rare ones we did not have at DePaul University. So I have no preconceived notions about your fraternity, which is, probably a good thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what that reminded me of. No sexual on the place that's just been busted for prostitution.
When I was in Marseille, France, there was this little, the area that was by our place where we were staying, right along the water, right along the Mediterranean. There was absolutely a happy endings massage parlor. Like, clear as day, that's what was going on in there. And I was so amazed that it was just out in the open. I was like, man, they are open about this stuff in Europe. Damn.
Yeah.
We don't take so kindly to that in the U.S.
No,
though.
it's a little bit against the law. All right, so who wins today?
I'm going to go with
two
this
great
one.
Stories.
Yeah, I'm going to go with no sexual here.
Yeah, no sexual.
That's a clean sweep today, but does that beat the fight promoter parent?
No.
Do you have any quotes from Bob Kraft on this particular story?
No, Bob Kraft has not weighed in
Okay.
on a massage parlor in Romeo, Michigan. I don't know how close that is to Detroit or the last time the Patriots played the Lions. If I'd been more prepared for that joke, I would have done that research.
This news is from WXYZ, which I know is a Michigan station.
That's a Detroit station.
Detroit State. Duh, Michigan. Romeo, Michigan.
It's
by
on the urban fringe of the Detroit metro area, is what they say.
The rural urban fringe.
Way north.
Huh.
So
I'm going to start telling my wife we live on the rural urban fringe of Topeka and see what she says.
So the fight promoter parent takes it. He is our weekly champion. on What Is Wrong With You. When we come back, some thoughts on K-State basketball's win over Cal last night and a look ahead to their game against Oklahoma State on the gridiron tomorrow. That's coming up on 580 Sports Talk. .443, that's how you know we're back live on 580 Sports Talk. There's a time check for you. Dan Lucero hanging out in the box with you on this. I'm the man in the box. If you're listening to the radio stream, you can hear the music bed there. I'm the man in the box today. Not buried in all that, though. Not buried in what Lane Staley's thinking about. Thank goodness. That'd be unpleasant. This is 580 Sports Talk. I am Dan Lucero. We pre-recorded What Is Wrong With You in our picks contest today. So now we're back live in studio with me. So thanks for hanging out with us here on the program today. Thanks for checking out the live stream on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, our Facebook page, WIBW News. Kansas State football, we'll get to in a little bit. They've got Oklahoma State tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., ESPNU. You can catch it right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9 on the K-State Sports Network from Learfield, with the pregame show starting at 9 a.m. But K-State basketball was in action last night. And Jerome Tang was really, really happy about the first 24 minutes of basketball his team played last night. And why wouldn't he have been? Because Kansas State built a 25-point lead that was whittled down in the dying seconds of the game to 3. The final score ended up being 99-96. But make no mistake, even watching the game live, Kansas State was never going to lose that game, even though it got to 3. Listen, it was a 7-point game with 12 seconds left, and Cal drove and got a layup and then fouled with 5 seconds left. Like, you're getting 2 possessions in 5 seconds. PJ Haggerty missed both free throws. I'll tell you what, if you had live bet at some point over 99.5 points for K-State, horrific beat, because K-State shot their free throws actually fairly well last night until the last minute of the game. Nate Johnson missed a pair, and then Haggerty missed a pair. He was still annoyed by it when they interviewed him on the postgame show. But really, other than that, K-State shot their free throws pretty exceptionally well. They were 14 of 21 in the game. So outside of those last 4, they were 14 of 17. So they'd shot them great, and then just a little lapse there in the last minute. And then Cal drove and made another layup with 0.2 seconds left and got fouled. And then they try to intentionally miss, like it's possible to tap it out and get a 3-pointer with 0.2 seconds left. Look, all I'm going to say about Cal's effort, I commend them. It's like if you watch Bad Beats on SportsCenter and you see Scott Van Pelt, one of the running gags about a team that comes up with a backdoor cover. They signed up for 60. Well, Cal signed up for 40 last night. They played hard, and K-State shut off a little bit because, again, they were up by 25 points. Cal shot the crap out of it. I mean, they made some tough shots. I didn't think so much it was Kansas State completely disengaged defensively as it was Cal got hot and made some very difficult, very long 3-point shots. And you give them credit. And look, you gotta play 40 minutes. You gotta play to the whistle. You know, a better team, a team that's not picked to finish 16th in the ACC, might have been able to come up with some more defensive stops, and it's going to be a problem if you shut off that early with that much time left in the game. So this is not me saying, don't be alarmed, please disperse, nothing to see here with regards to Kansas State's defense. I think we knew going into last night it was going to be a work in progress, and I think you leave last night feeling the same way. But holy crap, man, they can score, can't they? 99 points, and it didn't look hard. They had 64% shooting last night, and only 9 of 18 from 3. Like, a lot of times, a team will score a crazy number, and you look, and it's because they shot something ridiculous from deep. Like Cal, for instance. Cal went 15 of 28 from behind the arc. 54%. They could have been playing against their student managers for 40 minutes and not had a game where they shot that well. They will not have very many more games, if any more, where they shoot 50% plus from 3. One of those nights. And that got them, plus a couple of baskets where Kansas State literally was not guarding them in the final seconds, that got them up over 90 points. Good for them. Kansas State scored 99 and took 18 threes. Made 9 of them. So, I mean, that again is an inordinately successful night for K-State. They are probably not a true talent 50% 3-point shooting team, but they did not live and die by the 3 last night. They had 56 points in the paint. 56 of their 99 in the paint. And it wasn't just that they scored and scored at will and scored at all 3 levels, around the rim, in the mid-range, and from deep. They got good shots. Anytime they wanted to get a look, even in the second half, when the game was getting away a little bit in terms of the competitive level of it, Kansas State was still getting open corner threes, drives into the lane. Like, they got the shot they wanted so frequently. And how many times did we say that the last 2 years about a Jerome Tang basketball team? Bordering on 0, right? Like, how hard offense looked the last 2 seasons for Kansas State makes what they look like through 3 games this year stand in such stark contrast. They look like they can get whatever shot they want. And it's a good shot most of the time. They've got good passers. They've got good finishers around there. I'll tell you what, Kamari McGriff can put it in the basket. He can finish down low. He's better at that than I thought he was going to be. He had over 20 last night. Nate Johnson did his thing. PJ Haggerty, not super efficient. I didn't think he was great, but he had 20 plus anyway. He can get 20 plus against Power 4 competition without playing great. He's going to be just fine in the Big 12. This is like, I am comfortable saying that Kansas State's ceiling on offense is quite high. Are they a good offensive team? That's the kind of thing that I need more than 3 games to be able to say definitively. But I think they have a very high ceiling on offense. And that will make them fun to watch, which they have often not been the last 2 seasons. And I think it was a big part of the reason why last night there wasn't hardly a soul in those general admission seats at Bramlage Coliseum. Good student turnout, as there typically is. Jerome Tang's done such a wonderful job engaging the students, and they repay that by showing up and showing out and getting into the octagon for K-State's home games. Hey, GA was a ghost town. And look, you want to put fannies in seats? Win, number 1. But 2, be fun to watch. And Kansas State basketball has not been fun to watch the last 2 seasons. This team is going to be fun to watch. Now, they might be exasperating to watch on defense some nights, but they are going to be fun to watch. And I think they have an exceptionally high offensive ceiling. Because last night, again, the way the ball moves, the way they put pressure on defense, guys know how to get to their spots. They got quality looks just about every time down the floor. Like, even the shots they missed were good shots. So I'm excited about this team. I really am. I'm excited to see what they become. K-State football, as I mentioned, that's tomorrow. And I think Tim Fitzgerald had it right from GoPowerCat.com when we talked to him on Wednesday. You can't beat this version of Oklahoma State, even with all of the problems that Kansas State has had, even with all of the injuries that they are dealing with as a team. You can't beat this version of Oklahoma State. Pack it in. I don't think, and I talked about this on Wednesday as well, I don't think this is a K-State team without pride. I think they still have more talent, more dudes than Oklahoma State does. They're 19.5-point favorites in this game. I think they're going to win. I don't know that it will be that handily, but I think it will be fairly comfortable in the end. I don't think they'll have to engineer a last-minute drive or a last-minute stop to secure a win. They should win comfortably. They should be better offensively. They should be better defensively. There's always the risk. The big goal is out the window, right? They're not playing for a Big 12 championship. That is not happening. Mathematically, not happening. So now it's just about bowl eligibility, salvaging something. And that you've got to dig down a little bit for the pride to do that. But I think that pride is still a part of this Kansas State football program. Even through all of the trials and tribulations of this season, some self-inflicted, some just part of the game. I think this team still has its pride intact, and I think you'll see that on display on Saturday. They go down to Stillwater. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap up hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk. 4:55 here on 580 Sports Talk. Wrapping up this second hour of 3 on the show. Still plenty more to come in the 5 o'clock hour. We got our headlines, including the final participation report and injury statuses for Sunday's Chiefs Broncos game, as well as last night's announcement of the MVPs in Major League Baseball and the all MLB first and second teams. Diehard 580 Sports Talk fans will remember that back in 2018, I had the idea that baseball should do an all-league team. They really hadn't. And I wrote a whole thing for the website, the old wibwnewsnow.com website about it. And I don't think it lives anywhere on the internet anymore because nothing gets archived on the internet anymore, which is a bummer. But I wrote like several thousand words about who would have been on previous all MLB teams from like 2000 to 2017. It was a labor of love. I did it over the course of the summer. I think it's summer of 18, maybe it was, it would have been the summer of 18. And then not long after, Major League Baseball started doing all league teams, all MLB teams. I want my cut, Rob Manfred. I want my cut. It was my idea. You stole it from me. Little old me in Topeka, Kansas. You stole it from me, Rob Manfred. But I'm glad it exists one way or another. Also, injury notes for KU basketball players, past and present. If you saw on the video stream, me look down at my phone during the last commercial break and kind of make a sad face. Christian Brown's hurt for the Nuggets, and it's a long-term injury, which sucks. I'm really bummed about that. So we'll get into that. Also, Darren Peterson's status for the current Jayhawks for tomorrow against Princeton. And then also in the final hour of the show, Mitch Holthus joins us for his weekly chat with us, thanks to Hy-Vee and Azure Credit Union. Obviously, we didn't have Mitch yesterday because we hardly had a show yesterday, but Mitch gracious enough to join us today. And I'll get some final thoughts on the football weekend, set the schedule again of our broadcasts on WIBW and the Connoisseur Media Topeka family of stations as well. So it's a busy final hour before we get to the 580 Preps Coaches Club, and at 7 o'clock, our 580 Preps game of the week. Santa Fe Trail versus Holton tonight. Our high school football game of the week, a 3A sectional. Join me and Greg Akagi for that tonight. I got one more hour of 580 Sports Talk, and it's coming up after the news on WIBW. Hey guys, me again. Again, this video exclusive, stream exclusive here on 580 Sports Talk today. Just a reminder, after headlines, the rest of the show is in the can. Okay, the rest of the show is all pre-recorded. I got to get out to Carbondale. That's like not down the street. I gotta drive a ways to get to the high school football game tonight. So we are going to be pre-recorded after headlines the rest of the way, and I'm shutting the stream down. So the video will go dark after headlines, but we'll still be broadcasting online. If you listen on your computer or on your phone, go to 580wibw.com, pull up the WIBW stream on Odyssey, TuneIn, whatever app you prefer to use. That'll be how you'll have to enjoy the rest of the show today. It's just logistically, it's the thing we got to do. So that's what we're going to do. So hang out in the chat, hang out in the YouTube stream, hang out on Facebook, WIBW News for a little while longer yet. I'll still be with you until we're done with headlines, and then I'm off to Carbondale, and I hope you'll join me for high school football tonight. Anyway, just want to make sure that was clear. I'm going to throw up the title card now. Let's get it. Third and final hour on this Friday edition of 580 Sports Talk. However, wherever, whenever you're tuning in, so glad you're along for the ride on this Friday afternoon here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our video stream. Check us out on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We get to 900 subscribers. We're going to do 580 Sports Talk Idol. That's going to be a lot of fun. But we got to get to 900 subscribers first. Who will be the hero that gets us a step, or who will be the heroes that get us multiple steps closer to that goal today? Maybe it's you if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet. All it costs you is a click. Go to YouTube, youtube.com, pull it up on your phone. It's on your phone. Search 580 Sports Talk and just hit that subscribe button. You'll be notified when we go live if you've got notifications on. And you'll be able to dig through our entire archive of video at 580 Sports Talk. You can also watch us on Facebook, of course, at WIBW News. Still to come on the program in about 18 minutes or so, Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs, will join us. Looking forward to chatting with Mitch. Usually he joins us on Thursday, but we were hardly on the air yesterday. So Mitch, gracious enough to take some time and chat with us on the Friday edition of the show. And we'll have some final thoughts on the football weekend coming up. Big NFL weekend. Really, really good games on the docket on the NFL this week. Bills, Bucks, obviously Chiefs, Broncos is huge. Seahawks, Rams is a monster game. So we'll break that all down as well. We're with you until 6, and then 6:05, got the 580 Preps Coaches Club, and at 7 o'clock, we'll have the kickoff from Carbondale as the Santa Fe Trail Chargers take on the Holton Wildcats on our 580 Preps Game of the Week. We had text it from the 785, asked what game we're doing. Santa Fe Trail at Holton tonight is the game. Yours truly on the call, Greg Akagi alongside. Should be a beautiful November night for football in Carbondale. Looking forward to bringing it to you here on 580 WIBW. Again, our 580 Preps coverage begins with the Coaches Club at 6:05. So, we've got all that still to come. We got a big night ahead. Washburn women's basketball is underway, by the way, over on our sister station, Country 106.9. Laura Westling's Charges opening their season against St. Cloud State. at the Central Region Challenge in Edmond, Oklahoma right now over on our sister station, Country 106.9. Spencer Dupuis on the call. Washburn with an early 8-6 advantage there midway through quarter number 1. Following the women, the men play in Pittsburgh tonight. Brendan Dworzinski is Mike's side at John Lance Arena for that one as the Ichabod men play Minnesota State Moorhead. And if you keep it right here on WIBW, again, you'll hear me and Greg Akagi for the 580 Preps Game of the Week. Santa Fe Trail versus Holton in a 3A sectional tonight. But what if we got to some headlines here in this 5 o'clock hour of the show? Let's start with the final participation report of the week for the Chiefs and the Broncos. Isaiah Pacheco ruled out for the Chiefs. That's the big headline. He did not practice all week, still recovering from that MCL sprain that cost him the Buffalo game. Apparently didn't heal quite enough on the bye week. So he was a DNP all 3 days and will not play on Sunday. Nobody else has an injury designation for the Chiefs. George Karlaftis was a full participant at practice today after being limited the first 2 days. And Xavier Worthy was a full participant after he popped up limited on the participation report on Thursday. So both Karlaftis and Worthy did everything today and are good to go for Sunday. No injury designation for Jaden Hicks, Charles Omenihu, Josh Simmons, Trey Smith, and Juwan Taylor, who were full participants all week long. What about the Broncos? Well, it is a less kind injury report to the Denver Broncos. They have ruled 5 players out for Sunday's game, including reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Patrick Surtain. Also, pass rusher Jonah Ellis, middle linebacker Alex Singleton, who again had a surgery to remove a testicular cancer tumor last Friday following their win over the Raiders on Thursday Night Football. So certainly bigger than football, wishing Alex Singleton all the best, but he will not play on Sunday. Tight end Nate Adkins is out. Running back J.K. Dobbins is out. And per the reporting of Adam Schefter, sounds like it's going to be a while for Dobbins, that this won't be the only game he misses, that it could be a significant injury that costs him several games, which is kind of the story of Dobbins' career, unfortunately. So those 5 Broncos have been ruled out. Surtain, Ellis, Singleton, Adkins, and Dobbins. Linebacker Garrett Wallow, who's been a designated return from IR, full participant all week. He's listed as questionable. No designation for Jonathan Cooper, John Franklin Myers, and a pair of wide receivers, Marvin Mims and Trent Sherfield. They will be a go for the Broncos on Sunday afternoon. Again, if you missed it earlier, we are all picking the Chiefs. Everybody on the show, myself, Brendan, and Spencer, all picking the Chiefs, all picking them to cover what is presently a 4-point spread at Prairie Band Sportsbook. Next headline, some KU basketball injury news. Darren Peterson will miss his 2nd consecutive game as KU takes on Princeton tomorrow at Allen Fieldhouse. Still working through that hamstring injury that caused him to sit out earlier this week against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Bill Self telling the media today that it's an issue he's been dealing with really before the season even began, and it really tightened up on him and flared up in the North Carolina game. So the Jayhawks have decided that this portion of the non-conference is not the time to be messing around with a hamstring issue for their talented freshman point guard. The hope is that he will be good to go next week when KU plays Duke at the Champions Classic. And Bill Self said, yeah, that's our hope, but we'll show up either way, which I thought was pretty funny. But no Bucket Jones on Saturday, which, again, against Princeton, they shouldn't need him. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing for other guys to be able to find a little bit of confidence offensively as their need to produce and their opportunities to produce rise with Peterson out of the lineup. It could be good for a guy like Elmarco Jackson. It was good for Cole Rosario on Tuesday against the Islanders. He had his career high with 16 points. I think it could be good for Flory Badunga. Could be good for Trey White, Melvin Council, those guys, to find some offensive rhythm and find some offensive confidence that they're going to need as the season goes on. But it is a bummer not to get to watch Bucket Jones do his thing because he is a special talent. One former Jayhawk basketball standout, former national champion, dealing with an injury in the pro ranks. Denver Nuggets forward Christian Brown will be reevaluated in 6 weeks after suffering a left ankle sprain in Denver's win over the Clippers on Wednesday night. My comments about that injury are not suitable for radio. They would get us fined. Bleep, expletive, not happy, very disappointed. He's just such a perfect fit for the Nuggets starting five. Nuggets, by the way, off to a great start. They're 8-2. They'll miss him. They'll miss him a lot. They will. He just fits that starting five so great with the Nuggets. So bummed out that Christian Brown's going to miss a month and a half at least with that ankle sprain. We go to baseball for our next headlines. The MVPs were announced as awards season came to a close in Major League Baseball last night. They got to do this. Either they got to pick one night to do it all and give out these awards and have like a banquet, make an event out of it. Like, I mean, even hockey's figured this out, for God's sake. Baseball, the season's done for like a week, and then it's like, all right, we're going to do Rookie of the Year tonight, and then we're going to do Cy Young, and then we're going to do Manager of the Year, and then we're going to do MVP. We're going to do it once a night, one a night for a whole week. No! People have already forgotten there was a baseball season. You lose people's interest. Figure it out. Do it during the playoffs. Do it like the day before the World Series is scheduled to start. Have an awards banquet and announce the MVP and the Cy Young and all that stuff. Make it a big deal. Otherwise, people, if you don't care about it enough, nobody else is going to care about it either. But it's Rob Manfred for you. Anyway, the MVPs this year, same as the last. Aaron Judge, your American League MVP, the third of his career, tying a Yankees record. It is his second MVP in a row. He received 17 of the 30 first-place votes in a tight race. Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh received the other 13. I think Aaron Judge was the right choice. He won the batting title by a country mile. He is the most fearsome right-handed hitter in baseball. I know Cal Raleigh hit 60 home runs as an everyday catcher, and that is remarkable. And he's a good defender, too, and that adds to his value. But Aaron Judge is the best offensive player in baseball, and he's no slouch with the glove. I think they got this one right. I do. I'm glad it was close, but I think Judge was the pick. If I'd had a vote, it would have gone to Judge. Raleigh got the other 13 first-place votes. Nobody voted Judge or Raleigh lower than second on their ballot. Jose Ramirez of the Guardians coming in third. Bobby Witt Jr., a fourth-place finish in the voting, received 9 third-place votes, 19 fourth-place votes, a fifth, and a seventh. Michael Garcia got some down-ballot love. Every voter votes for 10 players on their MVP ballot, and 4 voters found room for Michael on their ballot. He got 3 ninth-place votes and 1 10th-place vote, finishing a tie for 15th with New York's Cody Bellinger. Tigers star pitcher Tarek Skubal, the Cy Young Award winner, rounds out the top 5 in the MVP balloting in the AL. Over in the NL, Shohei Ohtani, 2 years in the National League, 2 MVP awards. He was unanimous, receiving all 30 first-place votes, because honestly, who the hell else are you supposed to vote for in the National League? There's no credible argument for anyone who is not Shohei Ohtani, the best baseball player alive. 4 MVP awards for Ohtani, 2 in both leagues. Second all-time. Only player to win more MVPs, the great Barry Bonds. Kyle Schwarber finished second. He received 23 of the 30 first-place votes. The other 7 went to Juan Soto of the Mets, who finished third, and Geraldo Perdomo of the Diamondbacks, their outstanding shortstop, who came in fourth. Trey Turner of the Phillies rounding out the top 5 in MVP balloting in the National League. Then, of course, the all-MLB teams were announced. Want my cut, Rob Manfred? This was my idea, $1 million idea, and you got it sponsored. I need a sprinkle of that, Rob Manfred. Where my bread at? The all-MLB first team, catcher Cal Raleigh for the Mariners, first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for the Blue Jays, his third first-team all-league selection. Ketel Marte's second straight first-team selection at second base, the Arizona Diamondbacks' second baseman. Jose Ramirez is the all-MLB first-team third baseman for the second time. Bobby Witt Jr., back-to-back first-team all-MLB selections at shortstop, led the league in hits and doubles, and stole 38 bases. The outfield, Aaron Judge, naturally, Julio Rodriguez of the Mariners, and Juan Soto. Shohei Ohtani, the DH. The 5 starting pitchers on the All-MLB team, Boston's Garrett Crochet, the Yankees' Max Fried, Paul Skeens of the Pirates, Tarek Skubal of the Tigers, and the star of the World Series MVP, Yoshinobu Yamamoto of the Dodgers. Skeens and Skubal, of course, won the Cy Young Awards. The first team relievers, Boston's Aroldis Chapman and Philadelphia's Yohan Duran. No notes. 10 out of 10, no notes. I think they got it right. I don't have any beef there. The second team, the Dodgers' Will Smith was the catcher. Athletics rookie first baseman Nick Kurtz is the second team all-league first baseman. Second base, Milwaukee's Bryce Terang. Third baseman, Tampa Bay's Junior Caminero. Shortstop, Bo Bichette of the Blue Jays. The outfield, New York's Cody Bellinger, Arizona's Corbin Carroll, and Pete Crow Armstrong of the Cubs. Kyle Schwarber, the DH. The pitchers, Houston's Hunter Brown, Milwaukee's Freddie Peralta, Philadelphia's Christopher Sanchez and Zach Wheeler, and Brian Wu of the Seattle Mariners. Seattle's Andres Munoz, and the Mets' Edwin Diaz, your second team relievers. I'm just really, really glad they do that now. Makes me happy. I wish they would announce it like before the World Series, or they could even do it before the playoffs. Honestly, they don't need to, like, there's a fan vote element to it, which I find kind of distasteful. Like, what we don't know ball. Like the general public, I know ball, you know ball because you listen to this show, but the general public doesn't know enough ball to have any kind of say. Or I know it's a limited portion of the voting, but we don't need to involve the general public picking the all-league teams. Basketball doesn't do that. Hockey, football doesn't ask the public who should be an all-pro. But I'm glad they do it. I'm glad they do that now. That'll do it for our headlines here on 580 Sports Talk. We're cutting them short today because we've got a visit with the great Mitch Holthus. Mitch is going to join us, the voice of the Chiefs, thanks to Hy-Vee and Azure Credit Union. Give us his thoughts on the Broncos and the Chiefs matchup coming up this Sunday. That is coming up after this timeout right here on 580 Sports Talk. All right. Hi, guys. One more time. Exclusive to you on the video, you on Facebook. We're shutting the stream down. Everything else is taped. Go to 580wibw.com or pull it up on the app of your choice, WIBW, and listen to the rest of the program today. What are you still doing here? Get out of here. Go. Leave. Go. I love Ferris Bueller. All right. Bye, guys.